Hello. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Hey, hello, Raptors fans. Welcome back to the Raptors Report podcast. I'm your host, Julian. Joined with me, as always, is none other than at Raptor Shack, aka Steve. How you doing, Steve?
I'm great, Julian. How you doing?
How are you coping with this this extreme 2-game losing streak that the Raptors are on?
Devastated. I sat outside in the cold last night, just thinking over everything that went wrong.
I know. It was just it really hurts my heart to see the Raptors in such a low place after that 9-game winning streak. Of course, I'm joking. I am pretending to be one of the doom and gloomers who was, calling the Raptors run completely fake. Everything that they've done this season is just a complete illusion, shattered because they lost 2 back-to-back away games. Ugh. The Raptors win streak is finally over. Last week, when you joined us, we were in the midst of it. We were watching as the Raptors were just, bounding from one success to the next. And now we're just, we're in the doldrums. But we called it, by the way. If you go back and you watch the podcast, we said that it would be over. These back-to-backs would end the Toronto Raptors win streak, the game against the Hornets, game against the Knicks. I think both of us predicted that it would end against the Knicks.
Yeah.
Because we looked at the schedule and we were like, this is like a back-to-back game. Pirtle doesn't play on back-to-backs.
Yeah.
They're missing RJ Barrett,
Both 6:00 games, which is always weird.
Yeah,
and it was in MSG, right, where they were 9-1 at home, now 10-1 at home. It wasn't looking good, but we did not foresee the way that the Charlotte game went down, going scoreless for 5 minutes. That was not good.
No, that was shades of last season before that, where the Raptors would go on a streak of just 5 or 6 minutes without scoring a single point. And so I got some definite PTSD. Like, if you're going to worry about games, that one, the Hornets game, is the one where you have to kind of sit back and say, like, okay, that one is a warning sign. The game against the Knicks, that's going to be a loss. And I'll tell you why it was going to be a loss, because the Raptors chose to play Pirtle against the Hornets. And he's obviously not right now, because, I mean, he's not completely right. He doesn't play on back-to-backs. And they chose to play him against the Hornets and say, we'll just take our lumps with the Knicks game. We'll get it to 10 wins and then start a new streak, I guess. And they kind of waved the white flag. No Pirtle, no RJ. Second night of a back-to-back. They started Jamison Battle to, let us all know that they're not taking the game seriously.
Yeah.
I was surprised that how do you go from DNP CD, did not play, coach's decision, to starting the next game? Tell me how that works.
It's a wonder. Darko pulls this out of nowhere. I mean, he does the same thing where you can hit 7 for 7 on shots and win a game and be DNP CD the next game, right? So it is interesting, but I don't know how many takeaways you really have from that Knicks game. If you're prepping for the NBA Cup, right, because of course you've got the Knicks on the schedule for that, at least you've learned that Scotty guarding Cat is totally tenable. Yeah. At the beginning of the game, him guarding Cat couldn't get anything done, and it was only once stuff started to get shifted around and they started to, the second half, the back-to-back started to really get to them, that Cat started to be able to get some buckets. But so that was nice to see that's at least maybe the answer for that. But I expected rebounding to be the nightmare it was. So
Mitchell Robinson, people underrate him. He was like him and Hartenstein in that Cavs series. If you watch the Cavs series against the Knicks, you'll realize that guy is no joke. Yeah. They completely bullied the Cavs from the beginning of that series to the end. That is the reason that they won the game, is because Mobley and Jarrett Allen kind of just got punked by Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson. So yeah, you can't take him lightly. But I know it is still disappointing. I hate losing to the Knicks, and I have been conditioned to expect a win because I'm an old head. They've been bad for, since time immemorial.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're good this season. And the Raptors learned that the hard way in MSG.
Yeah.
In any case, why don't we take a quick look at the upcoming schedule? Because the home stretch that they're going to be partaking in is actually kind of difficult. So why don't I just quickly, I'm going to just take a look at the schedule here. So
Jason says in the chat, yeah, at least Scotty turned into Clay for a couple minutes. Yeah, that was crazy. That was a 9-0 run, 3 threes in a row. That was fun.
I love that.
Yeah.
That was really fun. And it just goes to show, like, he knows when to shoot now.
Yeah.
Like last season, he didn't really.
Yeah.
This season, he's taking his cues and understanding, if the first shot goes in, you're feeling good, keep shooting it. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the upcoming 5 games. So here they are. One of them, the last game here against the Knicks, is going to be the in-season tournament. Thankfully, it's at home because the Toronto Raptors went 4-0 and the Knicks went 3-1. So they are going to be hosting the New York Knicks in Toronto for the final game there. But there are some pretty difficult games. So the first of which is the Lakers. So let's talk about the Blazers. The Blazers are a team. I'm not going to say they're good, but they're mediocre. And they're in the West. They're mediocre in the West, which I think is a little bit more impressive than mediocre in the East. They have a negative point differential. I think they're 8-12 or something like that. I guess we could just go over there and look. Yeah, they're 8-12.
Yeah.
Their net rating is underwater. They're a better offensive team than they are a defensive team. So they're not great, but they've got some players.
Yeah, Avdia's the guy to look out for that. They've got some decent wing defenders, so they might make it a little hard.
They've got. I don't know if Klingon was injured, I believe, or he is kind of day-to-day. Yeah, he was sick, I guess. Scoot isn't playing, but that's kind of a benefit for them. Drew Holiday is out. Oh, wow. Damian Lillard, yes, out for season, of course. Tybal is out, and I don't know who Blake Wesley is, but he's out too. Anyway, they're mediocre. So hopefully the Raptors can take care of business. The first challenge is the Lakers.
Yeah.
The Lakers, they obviously have one superstar, one star, and then LeBron, I guess, is still a star, but his star has started to fade. If you've been watching recently, Father Time has started to catch up to him. And then they've got some decent role players. I know DeAndre Ayton has actually been pretty good for them this season. Which is not surprising because any big that plays with Luka is going to look a lot better than they actually are.
Yeah, he can think for them, essentially. That's exactly what DeAndre needed, right?
Yeah.
But, I mean, obviously Luka is the handful, right? But Austin Reeves is averaging like 28 points a game. Very efficient. That might be our downfall.
Well, he's a good shooter. He's a good pick and roll operator. But the thing about them is that they have the Lakers whistle, and that is a force to be reckoned with. So let's take a look at the free throw attempts. Luka Doncic leads the league in free throw attempts. This is the perfect example to use if you ever hear somebody saying that Scotty Barnes complains to the refs too much and saying that's why he doesn't score or doesn't shoot enough free throws. This guy, Luka Doncic, is the whiniest player I've ever seen play basketball. That's not even a stretch. He is the biggest complainer I've ever seen. And he leads the league in free throws. Right after him, look at this. Austin Reeves is averaging almost 10 free throws a game. And he is like, he's crafty. He can score. He has some moves. And, I'm sure a lot of these are legit free throw attempts. But
he's had that whistle since he came
10?
in the game.
I know.
When he was a rookie, he was getting like 5 a game, which is like better than Scotty's got during his All-Star season, right? So it's the Lakers whistle. I do expect it to be a very frustrating game.
And then Marcus Smart, like he gets the reverse Lakers whistle where he doesn't get called for fouls.
Right.
So enjoy that. Marcus Smart running free and wild
Yeah.
with no whistles holding him back. He's going to go ham on the Toronto Raptors. Probably also hit all of his threes. He's shooting 25% from three. Don't expect that. Okay. Expect him to make half of his threes against the Toronto Raptors.
He's one of those players where his three feels different. Like his three, when he hits one on you, it's like a knife in the chest, because you know that it's like he's not supposed to hit that. Why did he would do that all the time against us on Boston? It was just like oh, great, awesome. And you just knew you were cooked at that point.
Very frustrating experience. So stay tuned for that. LA Lakers. Then they get the rematch against the Hornets. So the Hornets have played the Raptors tough this season. Unfortunately, they have got, like, I don't want to double down on the refs because I just talked about how it's going to be unbearable against the Lakers. But the Hornets, in their first meeting, I was going to crash out if they lost that game, because if you remember, they got hosed by the refs completely.
Yeah.
Hornets were like getting, spoon-fed free throw attempts. But I think they should be able to take care of the Hornets. Now, let's take a look. This is going to be a tough back-to-back game. They're not actually back-to-back. Like, it's not the night afterwards, but like these two in a row. The Celtics are actually good this year, which is not something I like to say because I don't like the Celtics. But if you've watched their games, they are actually pretty good this season. I know Peyton Pritchard had like a 40-burger. I think it was like 2 nights ago or something like that. But it's mostly like
Jaylen Brown is sneakily averaging like 28 a game.
He has been awesome for them.
Like,
Derek White has sucked, so that is one thing. He is still good defensively, but his numbers have been horrible. Like, he's shooting under 40%.
Yeah, definitely not the jump that you kind of expected from him getting more opportunity. It was like, oh, that's probably why they'll still be good, because he'll actually get more touches. But now it's been kind of the opposite. So, but like, I'm confident in the Raptors' ability to defend against Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
Peyton Pritchard might be the more handful for the guards, although like Jamal Shed guarding Jacoby guarding these guards has been fantastic. The matchups that he's getting one night getting Donovan Mitchell, next night he's getting
he was so good against Brunson.
Yeah,
that was amazing defense against Brunson. I dug into the tape because I had to do the episode today. And man, he was so, like, he was attached to him like glue. Neemias Queta, he has been kind of like a low-key revelation for them.
Yeah.
And Josh Minot as well. He has been kind of a really good player for them as well. So, like, they've got some players, and like they're kind of squeezing everything they can out of them. So they've been pretty good. That'll be a good matchup. And then obviously the rematch against the Knicks. And that is for the cup. If you guys respect the cup like we do in this household, in my household, then that will be, they better get revenge. Everybody better be healthy for that game.
That will be the most important game since the play-in loss to DeMar DeRozan's daughter. That'll be the most important game for us since then. So
real stakes.
And there's a lot of young guys on the roster that I'm sure the top dogs want to get paid, right? Because there's quite a purse at the end. Now, you're probably going to run into Oklahoma City if you're lucky enough to make it to Vegas, but still, you make money in tiers, like with this, right? Like, you get to the next round, there's a certain amount that they can get. You get to the next round, there's more, right? So there's always incentive to even just try to go far. But if they, I don't expect it to be the same game that they just played against the Knicks, because we'll have Yak and hopefully RJ.
It's at home.
Yeah.
The Knicks aren't actually that good on the road.
Yeah.
They'll have some size. That was what killed them against the Knicks. Was them getting their butts kicked on the boards. The cup is now locked in, so might as well talk about that, because we haven't been able to discuss that. Last week it wasn't locked in. Now it is. So they're playing the Knicks at home because they went 4-0. Then the other matchup in the East is Heat Magic. And those two will be battling one another. And whatever the outcome is, the Raptors will, I don't think, have home court because they're the second
because they
seed.
were the second seed. Yeah.
So they have home court now. They will have they'll be on the road if they advance past the Knicks, and then if they advance past the Knicks, they're going to play whoever comes out of the West, the Thunder. So yeah, I mean that home stretch is going to be, if you guys want to judge the Toronto Raptors, don't use the game against the Knicks. That is not a good measuring stick because of all the circumstances I described. This home stretch will be a good measuring stick for the Raptors. We'll be able to see how they look against the Celtics. Portland is the Lakers, though. If they're able to get a win there, that would be huge.
Mm-hmm.
If they are able to defeat the Knicks, that would obviously also be huge. So this is going to be like a crucible. We're going to figure out what kind of team the Toronto Raptors are, especially if RJ gets back. So that should be fun to watch. Okay. We got to talk about Grady Dick.
Yeah.
Grady Dick, I did an episode on him 2 days ago because he's been really disappointing this year. And I've been like whipsawing back and forth between, giving up on him and thinking he's got potential. Last season, I was over him. Mm-hmm. And especially at the end of the season, I was like, bro, get me off this ride. He can't shoot. He's injured a lot. Then this season started, and he had that really good preseason. He had that amazing first game against Atlanta. I was like, hey, I don't mind being wrong. I'll eat some crow. This guy is obviously showing me something. And he has shown me some things. Like, he hasn't been completely bad. Like, he's gotten better in a lot of kind of ways you wouldn't have expected.
Yeah.
But the shooting. So as of right now, Grady Dick is, let me see, because I know he was shooting in the low 30s before last game. He didn't even attempt a three last game. So it's going to be exactly the same as it was the last time I checked. So he's shooting 31% from three and under 40% from the field. And part of that is just because he does shoot a lot of threes. Like, if you don't shoot a good percentage and you shoot a lot of them, it's going to drag your field goal percentage down. But there are a lot of things that I do like that he's improved, but he is he's a specialist. He's got to be able to shoot.
Yeah, it's really interesting how off the original scout is that everybody did on him compared to what he is currently in the league. Oh, he's going to be a shooter. He's not really going to do much with the ball. Opposite. He can't hit his shots, but he happily attacks closeouts, gets good paint touches, and has he doesn't have quite the touch around the rim, but he's got some jelly and he's got some flash, right? So,
well, the touch has actually improved a lot. It's interesting you mentioned that. He was the worst finisher in the league last season.
He was.
On like a ton of attempts. He was shooting like 51% at the rim.
Yeah.
This season he's shooting 64% at the rim. So he's gotten a lot better on that. And also, I told you this stat before, but I'm going to tell you guys, the audience right now, some hustle stats, because he has been hustling this season. So let's take a look here. So what I've done is I've gone to the NBA.com's labyrinthine, impossible to navigate stats homepage. And I've done the hard work for you. Okay. I have learned to use this godforsaken website, so you don't have to. You can just listen to what I'm saying here. So what I've done is I've gone to the hustle index. I've adjusted it so it's per 36 minutes, which I think is the best way to examine these kinds of things. Yep. And all you have to do is just ignore the players who played under 100 minutes. So except for Garrett Temple, you're allowed to extrapolate. Yeah,
and
he's only played 10 minutes this season, but we'll allow it. But like Chucky Hepburn, ignore him. Jonathan Mobo only played 35 minutes. Ignore him. So let's start with Cullen Murray-Boyles, who leads the team with 5.1 deflections per 36 minutes, which is not a surprise, right?
Yep.
He coming out of college, he had like the best hands in the draft. He was really good at creating deflections. Look who's right after him. Grady Dick. Okay.
Yep.
So that is a good sign. And part of the thing that you have to notice is that how he plays defense. And how he plays defense is so funny because I mentioned it. It reminded me of Kelly Olynyk, because the way Kelly Olynyk plays defense is that he can't move his feet and he can't jump off of the floor. So what does he do? He just uses his hands, and he's constantly swiping at the ball and like double teaming and playing, like trying to smack the ball loose, getting in passing lanes and stuff like that. That's what they have Grady Dick doing. It is so extreme what they have him doing. They never have him covering a player one-on-one. Whenever he's on the court, what they do is they immediately help.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll send a second defender and have him switch off immediately. It is so extreme. This is so funny. He's second on the team in deflections. Take a look at this. Contested shots. So the number of contested shots here, 11 for Sandro, 10 for Pirtle. This is all per 36 minutes. Grady Dick is challenging one shot a game. One
per 36 is
that
crazy.
Is how exactly. And what I was thinking is like, it just kind of goes to show like what the defense has been doing and like kind of how smart the defense has been under Darko. Like they have clearly, he has adjusted things so that to take the sting out of having to play Grady major minutes is that you cannot have him on an island guarding someone in space, because they're going to get either an open jump shot or blow right past him. So you have to change the defensive approach, and it's been working. Like, I am not even surprised that Grady Dick is one of the better players in terms of deflections, or even that his net rating, especially his defensive net rating, is good, is because the defense seems to be fine getting into rotation, and he's actually not that bad at helping and rotating off of his man. So I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah,
go ahead.
The path for him to be successful, not just on the Raptors, but in the league, is literally just make 2 threes a game at this point.
Yeah.
It's a pretty low bar, because he's answering the other questions by being tenable enough in the Raptors defensive system. Yeah, maybe they have to overextend themselves to help him, but he's not getting fried as he was before. So that's great. There's even like a couple of moments where he has gotten stranded, where the help didn't come quick enough, and he held his ground fine enough, didn't get killed. Great.
Yeah.
All he needs to do is just knock down a couple shots and do the thing that no matter what opposing announcer, they see Grady Dick and they go, watch out for this guy. This guy can shoot. He has like the expectation versus the reality on him just league wide is crazy, because I think everybody scouted him as this guy could be the next great shooter, right? Yeah. Like, I think one of my like hot takes when Grady was drafted, I was like, he's going to hit 100 threes for us in his first season. He didn't even come close. He like, obviously he struggled as a rookie season, right? But he just has to do the thing that seems core to him. And I know that there's arguments that, he's getting, certain difficult shots that he's taking, or they're running, whatever. It's like, come on. I've seen him break enough open ones.
This isn't Make-A-Wish.
Exactly.
You got to do your thing. And the way they fixed it last season, because they like a real shooter, like a shooter who's like, if you watch Duncan Robinson, that's a perfect example, because I think it's like a 1-to-1. Like, that's what I was expecting. I was like, okay, we got a Duncan Robinson kind of guy here. Yeah. Duncan Robinson can run off of a screen and shoot the ball. Okay. He can take a dribble handoff and shoot the ball. He can come off of a pin down and shoot the ball. He can, sometimes even come off of a dribble and shoot the ball. Yep. Grady Dick can't do that. He can't do that. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what about his shot. Maybe he's just what I think it is. And this is like completely unscientific. I have no clue if this is true. But do you know how that some players have touch? Okay. Yeah. And you make a live adjustment on the circumstances if they change. Your mind, your unconscious mind is constantly making these micro adjustments to make up for the fact that the situation has changed slightly. And so you can have a guy like Jakob Poeltl, who is in the post, can catch the ball and then adjust how he lays it up and in, and like how he does that. Like that's touch when people talk about it. Like Jokic is the perfect example. Like he can make a shot go in no matter where he is on the court because his touch is so good. And he's constantly making those micro adjustments during during his thought process without even thinking about it. I think Grady is like a mechanical shooter whose mechanics are excellent.
Yeah.
Who, when he's lined up, squared up, ready to shoot the ball, he's a good shooter.
Yeah.
When you introduce motion into the equation and a live setting, I think that he has an issue with the touch. Like, I just don't think he has the shooter's touch.
That's what it looks
which
out.
is unfortunate.
That's what it looks like out there, right? Like, and there's the combination of you're catching a little bit of body contact as you're trying to get around and get your shoulders square and stuff like that, right? But like, this is what you train for. This is what you build for and everything, right? So, like, I remember when he came into the league, somebody tried to dismiss it. They're like, oh, he's going to be a Luke Kennard. And I was like, if he becomes a Luke Kennard, that is amazing. Luke Kennard's one of the best shooters in the league for the past decade, and he hasn't been that. He's been able to benefit.
Taller Luke Kennard would be good, because that's the problem with Luke Kennard, is that he's tiny.
Yeah.
But
no, it would be excellent. And it's what very much what the teams needed. And I don't think if we had the contributions from certain players like Mamu and stuff shooting above 40%, that we would have gone on this 9-game winning streak when we've got guys who are paid to be shooters who weren't hitting it because Jacoby wasn't, but now he is.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And Ochai as well.
Exactly.
Ochai
so
was bricking.
For a moment you had those 3 guys who are supposed to be your 40% knockdown guys, all bricking. Finally, Jacoby's come around, but the other 2 not looking good.
Yeah. The way they fixed it last season was that his shot diet at the beginning of last season, and at the beginning of his first season, maybe I'm getting it mixed up, but basically they had him doing all the running off of screen stuff and it wasn't working. So they said basically, okay, you're a corner shooter now. Just take all of your shots in the corner. And then his 3-point shooting rebounded. That's not a long-term strategy. You can't do that, because if you want a corner 3-point shooter, Jacoby is shooting 59% on corner 3-point shot attempts.
Wow.
The whole league can shoot from the corner.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't want a guy who's like probably in a regular defensive system, a defensive liability, being a corner merchant. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I am very disappointed, and he's only got, let me put an arbitrary limit on it, 10 more games to prove me wrong. And then my mind will be made up.
Honestly, he's in the point of his career where he's looking for that next contract, and he's really got to start putting together if he wants to make any kind of substantial money. But right now it's looking like he just let him take the qualifying offer and let him try to figure it out and like push all that, kick that can down the hill, because there's no way you can justify giving him a guaranteed deal at this point when it's inconsistent, when it's like that start of last season. Awesome. He's averaging like 20 points a game, but we've seen guys average a lot on bad teams with big opportunities in a small sample size. Exactly. Right. So it's like there's tons of guys who are actually averaging 20 points and it's not really leading to anything. Right. And that's kind of what Grady was doing, but it was really encouraging as a fan to see that. It was like, oh, this guy might be putting it together, and he might be really putting his name on that 5th starter spot, right? He might be taking RJ's spot for real, and it's not. This is not even close to that, right?
Speaking of which, that's probably a pretty good segue, because we wanted to talk about RJ Barrett and his impact, and kind of there are some narratives that are going on right now. Some of them, I don't know if I agree with 100%. But I'm glad that he's getting at least some shine, because RJ has kind of been the whipping boy for the Toronto Raptors since he joined the team.
Yeah.
He was kind of an afterthought. He was the throw-in. Quickly was the guy that they were trying to get. RJ, the toxic asset, blah, blah, blah. And then last season, he had a stretch of games where he was really good. And then he had a stretch of games where he wasn't very good. And his defense is inconsistent, yada, yada, yada. There are a bunch of reasons. There are a lot of people who are kind of down on him. But I think he is important for the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah.
And I think maybe the past 4 games, I think they've missed him, although I'm not going to put an entirely huge amount of stock in just those 4 games. But I will say that they are missing some scoring for sure. And I think there's some evidence for that, even though it is a small sample size. Why don't we take a look at this tweet that you so kindly shared with me? And we'll take from Zulfi Sheik. Apologies if I mispronounced your name. So the Raptors in 3 games without RJ Barrett versus their season averages. So 3 games without him, they are 27th in points per game, even though points per game is kind of make-believe stat. They were 13th in the league. Their offensive rating, so this is a real stat, is 30th. So worst in the entire league, down from 10th. Half-court O rating, 26th, down from 5th. True shooting percentage, pretty much the same as O rating. I mean, you don't have to even mention this, but down from 8th. Transition frequency, this is actually a real one. Transition frequency, 10th, down from 1st.
Yeah.
So why don't we talk about this a little bit, other than the fact that it is a small sample size. What do you think about this theory? Are you buying into it?
I think he is majorly impactful in what the Raptors are trying to do on offense, especially with the transition. We saw it in the Hornets game for the first half of the game. Transition was working beautifully, and they were running the show on the Hornets. Looked great, but he's one of their best transition players. And taking him out of that, you've got guys who aren't used to being in that position. There's more turnovers happening. There's worse takes, basically. I mean, you've still got guys like Scotty and Jamal Shed who are making great decisions in transition, but RJ's ability to just put his head down and get a shot, and has been a lot more efficient this season finishing it compared to last year, has been very important for their transition, actually, just like translating to a lot of their points, because in this win streak, like I know Emmanuel Quickley's like point per game from transition went from like 1 point per game to 5 point per game. Everybody was running, is beautiful, and that's slowly being chipped away. Especially like, I mean, you talk about points per game, but in the Knicks game, the 94 points per game that they put up, that was the least amount of points a team has scored on the Knicks this season. And you got to believe that RJ,
he would have contributed a lot.
He would have contributed, especially when he takes that kind of matchup personal. He does a lot, but his ability to generate, to actually get into the paint, he's one of the few players on the team that can do that consistently, right? And I think that that's been overlooked by people who are too harsh on him. But I don't think it's completely untenable without him. But I think that the play of guys like Grady have kind of been working in RJ's favor for his next contract, right?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, if the guys behind you aren't impressing, then, you know.
Exactly, right?
And the thing about, like, I have liked what I've seen from Jacoby. I think he's looked good. But he's like just a completely different player than RJ. Like, it's almost kind of weird to even compare the two. Like, RJ is not a good defender. Jacoby is the best perimeter defender on the team, in my opinion. Jacoby is literally a corner merchant, 3-and-D guy. He's a complete role player. And RJ is like a slasher, like he's a scorer. So it's like you can't compare the two. And so expecting the same results that you're swapping them out, you know, is not realistic. The thing that I'm going to say about RJ, and it kind of goes back to what you were talking about with the transition, is that he does 2 things in transition that I think are like really important. Is number one is starting the break. So RJ is a good passer. Like, that is one of his strengths as a player. And he's good at passing in transition. So he will start a break with a nice bounce pass, or he'll get the rebound, or like they'll outlet the ball to him, and he will start the break, but he will make a pass ahead, a deft pass ahead to a player who's in a better position. So that's number one. He's good at starting the break. And number 2, he's good at finishing the break. he is definitely a good interior scorer, and the best way to do that is in transition. So like he and Scotty were like kind of the two engines of their transition attack, and that's definitely been missing.
Yeah.
And I think there's one thing that I think has kind of really hurt the Raptors has been Brandon Ingram's tendency to turn the ball over. Like since RJ has gone down, he's had like a number of games like with really, really bad turnovers. In fact, you know what? Let's just close this window real quick because I want to take a look at Brandon Ingram's turnovers since RJ went down. So let me just quickly grab the game logs here, and then I'll share the screen here because I want to see if this theory has any merit to it or whether I'm just kind of fantasizing here.
It makes sense. And like from what I've seen, right, like Ingram gets a lot of defensive attention. He gets doubled the quickest out of everybody. And RJ has been so good with those off-ball 45 cuts to just capitalize off of those double teams. And when you take that out, Jacoby not as good as a cutter. He's more likely to set out on the perimeter. So immediately, Brandon, maybe his first look is not there. There's not a cutter there for him to dump off. And then I've seen a couple of these where he goes to airmail it over everybody and he doesn't have enough gas and he just throws it right into somebody's hands, right? Yeah. So I feel like RJ's absence is definitely an impact on that.
Okay, so well, let's the results here looking kind of in favor of that hypothesis. So I just did maybe you watched it while I was doing it, but I just looked at the 17 games prior to this 4-game stretch without RJ. He was averaging 2.8 turnovers, which is still not very good. But in the games without RJ, and obviously small sample size alert, don't have to tell you guys that, but he's averaging one more turnover per game. And I mean, that kind of makes sense as you were talking about, like those cuts where he can cut when he's getting double teamed in the post. That has been a consistent source of playmaking from Brandon Ingram, is that he feeds RJ on those cuts when he gets doubled. And without that, it seems like he's kind of getting boxed in more.
Yeah.
And I think that the Raptors, I think RJ is a little bit more important than people gave him credit for. And I saw these, you have debates on social media. You talk to people of different persuasions. You talk to people who are like generalists, and people were very down on RJ because his net rating was bad. And like the net rating was saying like Grady Dick is like the best player on the team. Yeah. And RJ is useless. And like I'm watching the games and I'm like, that is not true. Like RJ is playing well this season. His defense isn't even that bad. And he's doing a ton of stuff. Like it's just lineup data and people taking this kind of arbitrary, like 5-man stats and applying it to one player when I think it's like a lot more complex than that. And we're missing a ton of context when you isolate these kind of plus minus stats and don't have any of that context built in. So I think RJ has been a positive player for the Toronto Raptors. Like he has definitely been, I would say, probably their third or fourth best player this season. I think it's been Scotty, then Ingram, then either RJ, Pirtle, and Quickly. They're all kind of in that nebulous zone after those two. Like I wouldn't be comfortable putting any of them third with a bullet. I think all three of those people have been, in contention.
Because Quickly has had higher highs but much lower lows. Right. And it really kind of seems like so far the team has gone where Quickly goes, where it's if he's making good decisions and he's taking and making, they're probably going to win that game. But pulling up with 19 seconds left on the shot clock might cook you in a game, right?
I don't mind those shots. I know that there's a lot of people who don't like those shots. I know Leo, he was on the broadcast prior to the Knicks game, kind of complaining about how Quickly was taking these kind of shots early in the shot clock. But like when I look at that kind of shot, there's two things. Like, obviously you want to have rebounders in position. That is a big thing because threes are, uh, I think they've done the stats on it, and it's like a similar rebounding rate, defensive to offensive rebounding. Like, it doesn't really matter if you're taking three, but you want a rebounder under the basket.
Yeah.
But if the shot is open, I don't think it's a bad shot for him. I think that he should be shooting that shot. And the poster child for pull-up threes in transition was none other than the GOAT, Kyle Lowry. And I remember being on like forums and social media, and people, like, before they realized that that was kind of like actually a good shot for him, that people would be screaming like, how can he take this shot? There's 2 seconds in the shot clock. He's pulling up and taking a three in transition. What is he thinking? Why doesn't he go to the, it's like, but then after a while it became normal.
Yeah.
And people drilled down on the stats and were like, oh, okay, this is actually a really good outcome for your offense. Kyle Lowry taking an open 3-point shot. I think it's similar for Quickly. So
yeah, I mean,
too much.
I was trying to explain to somebody like last year, kind of where a lot of like, oh, where does the Fred VanVleet hate come with people? And I'm like, it's super easy to blame him for losses when he's the guy taking clutch shots and missing them, or taking a pull-up 36-foot shot. If you make it, you're a genius, you're a hero. And if you miss it, what the hell were you thinking? You just blew that, yada, yada, yada. That's the risk that they take, and they accept that. And it's like Ingram having an inefficient night the other night. He was an inch away from hitting another game winner, and it would have been completely fine. He would have been a hero again, right? Like, that's just kind of the variance that happens, right? So yeah, if Quickly, especially that late clock or that early clock game in the late situation with Charlotte, if he had nailed that, it's like, oh, we're flying. This is great. Everything, right? But it's the risk you take by taking those shots, right?
Yeah, it's a make or miss league, and obviously you're going to be the GOAT if you make the shot. You're going to be a GOAT if you miss it. But I think you got to boil things down. Like, I know a lot of people have thoughts about basketball that don't involve statistics, but at the end of the day, like, basketball is literally a game of numbers. Like, if the number goes up, that's good. If you have the higher number at the end of the game, you win the game, right? So if it's a good shot, it's a good shot. If it's not a good shot, like if you keep missing the same type of shot over and over again and it's not working, then it's a bad shot. So I'd be interested actually to look at the pull-up three in transition. Like, if it is a bad shot, then I'll eat some crow and say, like, he should stop shooting it. But I don't think it is. I think he's been pretty good with that shot for his career, at least.
Now, I've got one last thing on RJ's impact on Brandon. When you look at their, I don't know if you're familiar with Data Baller, the one site, it shows it's called Statline Shift. It shows their stats per 75 possessions when they're together, like when he's with Ingram, when he's without Ingram, yada, yada, right? So for Brandon Ingram, with RJ, he's shooting 60% true shooting. Without RJ, 53% true shooting, right? So already, second RJ's off the floor, probably seeing more defensive attention with less outlets, and shooting worse because of it. And RJ, pretty much the exact same story. With Brandon, 62% true shooting. Without Brandon, 55% true shooting. They seem to work well together and make each other better. And both of their turnovers go up without each other. Both of their assists go up together, right? Like, they seem to... Go ahead.
Sorry to cut you off. Like, I'll just interject very quickly. Like, that was like a big thing that happened in training camp and in preseason, was like, hey, wait a second, these guys actually play really well together. And people were saying like they were going to be clashing for whatever reason, but it's like, oh wait, no, these guys have a lot of synergy. Sorry, continue.
No, it's just I think with RJ, there was the misconception that he tries to take too much of offense or something like that. I always saw it as he's just trying to do what the team needs. And he is somebody who's humble enough to acknowledge when somebody's a better player than him and have no problem taking a step back with that. But when there's that void and you look around at the guys next to you, okay, somebody's got to score the ball. Nobody else is here to score the ball. I'll have to do it. Right. And that's what he had to. Yeah, exactly. That's what he had to do last year. And he was paired with, like, when you're looking at Scotty, who was having an inefficient season, you're probably the better person to take this shot. So that's fine. But he understands that Brandon Ingram, better offensive player than he is, more likely to score the ball, and very good at distributing you easy looks. So I think it's very likely that Ingram's recent struggles are a lot RJ related.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that a lot of people will say that it's easy to be, a scorer on a bad team, all that kind of stuff. But they've shown that being efficient, like, of course, players on bad teams put up stats, and a lot of the time it's just raw stats. So it's like points or rebounds without the efficiency that goes along with it. And part of the reason for that is because you're going to get more attempts, because you are, somebody has to take the shots. But the defense keys in on you. And it's harder when you don't have a good team to score efficiently, because you don't have space to operate. The defense is more aware of you on the court. They're going to send help in different ways. They're going to scheme on you. Like, that's the big thing, is that I think clearly, like, the message has gotten out to the league that Brandon Ingram, one of his, like, Achilles heels as a player are the turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the Knicks really did a good job on him last night. The 5 turnovers, they put him in situations where he was, like, they brought the double over at an unusual time, and he got trapped. I know he got picked on that pick and roll that happened later on in the game. There's, like, a lot of reasons for those things, but when you have other players around you that can actually score, they can't completely do these junk defenses where they just load up on you. Like, remember when the Raptors did the box and one on Steph Curry? Like, that's basically, like, if you don't, like, that was the Steph Curry show. There was no Kevin Durant. It was basically Steph Curry, especially in certain lineups. He was the guy that you had to stop, and everybody else was just not an offensive threat. So you could play this kind of weird defense where you only have to pay attention to one guy. And obviously it's not that extreme with the Raptors at this point, because, they've got some players who can play ball. But when you take a puzzle piece out, it's not always going to be very pretty. And I'm going on and on, but I have other thing that I think here is an issue, is that I feel like the team, in terms of building the team, they got a guy who can, like, kind of cook in Sandro. Like, Mamu has moves, he can cook, he can score. And that's obviously a big thing to bring off of the bench. And he's their 6th man. And it makes sense that you have him in that role. But in terms of, like, wings and guards, like, they don't have a lot of guys that can cook. Like, they've got Emmanuel Quickley, they've got RJ Barrett, they've got Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes. Like, he's kind of a big, but, like, who are the other, like, Jamal Shed? He's more of a playmaker. He's more of, like, a defender, run the pick and roll, do that stuff. Jacoby Walter, he's like a 3-and-D guy.
Not doing a lot of creating for himself. His handle is not great.
But and Grady Dick, like, I don't even know what's going on with him. So, like, the gap, like, instead of having another guy that can just jump into that slot and kind of do some replicating of what RJ does, you have to replace him with a guy who's just, like, completely different. And of course, like, they were hanging their hat on their offensive structure and their offensive philosophy, and now they can't. Like, they can't do that.
Which I mean, I hope they have a takeaway from these couple of games of what this looks like. And because seeing how they continuously kind of tried to force possessions to Ingram when it was getting tight and was slowing down made me concerned for how Darko was going to coach in the playoffs of what do you do when they've got a good chess move on you? They've solved it and they go, oh, okay, you're just trying to run it through Ingram. Okay, here's our solve. What is his counter? right?
Yeah.
What made Nick Nurse just a legendary coach in that 2019 championship run was his counters and his ability to outfox the other coach when it came down to it and go,
Even in the
okay,
Celtics series in the bubble,
yeah,
there were a lot of really good adjustments that he made, and
yeah,
like the pre-switching the bigs so that they wouldn't be involved in the pick and roll. Like there were a whole
yeah,
bunch of things that he was good, like really good at coming up with solutions
yeah,
to the problems that other teams posed
yeah,
to the Raptors. And I think he even did a good job, like in the 76er series, like
hmm,
that went to 6 games. They obviously went down 3-0 and then they got back to 3-2. And
yeah,
a lot of that was just like he kind of solved some of the issues that the Raptors had against
yeah,
them. So that's a good question. Like, can Darko
yeah,
get, like, he's made a really good first impression in terms of this season,
yeah,
but once the book is out and like here's what you do to solve the Toronto Raptors offensive system,
yeah,
does he have that backup plan? Can he go with something that isn't plan A? Does he have a
yeah,
competent plan B?
exactly. Because like right now, it seems like the the counter punches are coming from the players more so of like, oh, look what Sandro just created for himself. Look
Yeah.
what Jamal just pulled out of there. Like Darko is a great X's and O's coach. He's got great play calls, stuff like that. But I am very interested to see, assuming that the Raptors make the playoffs, how the game planning and stuff works for him and how the counters work. And I hope that these couple of games were a lesson. I think that the Hornets game was a good lesson for the team of, okay, what do we do when we get shut out for 5 minutes? How do we, what's going to be the simple thing that we do to start getting
Yeah.
buckets again? So I think hopefully they've got some takeaways from that game because otherwise it was a total waste of a blown opportunity. And then you've still got some issues to face going forward. But
Mhm.
yeah, that would be kind of my concern from what happened in those games.
Well, there's one last thing I think we can talk about. I think this
Yeah.
is a good note to end on is like, of course, there's things, adjustments that the coach can make, but I wonder if the front office is looking at what the Toronto Raptors have right now,
Yep.
what they need. Like, does it make sense to go out and get a backup center?
Hmm.
Maybe a guy who's like a hired gun, who's older, he's not going to cost very much. Just a guy, a vet that can come in and play 10 minutes a game when Pirtle is healthy, and then
Yep.
play 25 minutes a game when Pirtle is out. You know,
Yep.
that would be very helpful for the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah.
Or like we just saw what the team looks like without RJ, it's probably going to look pretty similar if Ingram goes down.
Yep.
Do they need another guy who can come in and score the ball?
Hmm.
Like, is that something that you can go out and get? Maybe again, maybe a low cost vet, like a guy who is, you know, seen better days, but can play 15 minutes a game and give you
Yep.
10 points or something like that. Well, that's a little optimistic. Maybe like
Well, but
8 points or something.
yeah, right. But there's some teams that they should monitor, right? Like they should monitor the Kings to see if they can pick off. I mean, Keon Ellis, great player, would be a great addition, cheap, but he's a defender as well, like
Yeah.
mostly a defender, right? But
Yeah.
it's like, how much does Malik Monk have in the tank? Can he be your sixth man?
Yeah.
Maybe. You look at the Pacers, you go, okay, how tied are they to Jay Huff? Be a pretty nice backup center, right? What would
Yeah.
that cost?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of interesting things for them to monitor, and I would hope that Bob, you would be active. I mean, I know they're always assessing the team, right? And they'll know better than anyone Yak's likely availability for the rest of the season. If they're looking at it going, okay, this guy's going to miss like another 15, 20 games. And if those are 15, 20 games that you lose, that could be the difference of with your whether you're in the playoffs or whether you're in the play-in fighting for a
That's a good
spot, right?
point.
So
Yeah.
I would imagine what they know about Yak's health would really help determine their aggressiveness in that.
Yep. That is like, obviously they have the inside info and we don't,
Yeah,
but like one of the things that would concern me is that like the price of doing business has often included draft picks, and like
yeah,
I the Thad Young deal kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Obviously, um, the pick swap, which was like it turned into Malachi Branham, but
Yeah.
that's not a big deal. But like the concept of going out and getting that kind of a player, I wish it was cheaper. Like
Yeah.
I was hoping that they would be able to. And also one other thing that I think we should mention is like maybe they can go in-house. Like AJ
Mhm.
Lawson
Yep.
is a guy who played competent minutes for the Toronto
Yep.
Raptors last season.
Yep.
And he did a lot of the stuff that we're asking for, 3-point shooting that is not just stand in the corner and shoot threes.
Yep.
Playing defense and not having to, give up all of the offense. You know what I mean? He's a pretty well-rounded player. Why not give him a little bit of burn, especially
Honestly.
if you're not going to be playing Jamison Battle.
Yeah.
Give AJ Lawson some run.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they should be a little bit, maybe give him a try, see if he's got something there. If not, then maybe you look somewhere else. But
Yep.
Anywho, we are heading into the golden hour here, the very end of the podcast, and kind of want to talk about some things that we have going on here. So obviously the first one is the Discord. If you want to, you can join the Discord. I'll leave a link in the description of this video on YouTube, and I'll put it into my Twitter handle. Everybody is, there's quite a few people in there talking about Toronto Raptors, so join there. We also have a Patreon that will go to Steve and I if you want to become a member there. We've got some merch. I've gotten a bunch of Raptors Report stickers printed out, so maybe we'll figure out a way to incentivize people with those. But yeah, Steve, is there anything that you want to pitch, or is there anything that you want to talk about before we head out?
Yeah. Just subscribe to Raptors Report. We're going to be
and your channel, why don't you can actually Raptor Shack is on YouTube now. Yep. And you've got some videos as well, so
don't be shy. Just made a video about Jamal Shed, kind of what he's bringing to the team. I got a couple of videos on Raptors topics.
Some pretty creative stuff too. I like the format that you've
Thank you.
Using, so I try to clever.
I try to play around with that. I have fun making some intros and that kind of stuff, right? So like I had a lot of fun with the Emmanuel Quickly video there, the playing off the whole Call 5 thing. But so you can check me out there on YouTube. Same handle at Raptor Shack. Yeah, exactly the same.
Anyway, I think this was a good podcast. Let us know in the comments. We love talking Toronto Raptors basketball, and hopefully this becomes your Monday night ritual, 8:30 on Mondays, unless there's a game, in which case we'll move it back a day or two. But in any case, thank you for tuning in to Raptors Report, your source for in-depth Raptors content.